So in Genesis 22, it talks a lot about Abraham and his experience with Isaac when he is taking him to the altar to sacrifice him. Now, the reason this story is really interesting is because, one, Abraham has gone through this exact same thing already. Abraham had his father trying to sacrifice him, and he being, probably scared out of his mind, unbelievably horrified at the situation, knowing exactly what it's like to be in that situation. Turn around, a couple decades later, Abraham finally has a son after trying for years and years and years. And he's instructed by the Lord, after the Lord promises him that his posterity will dot the earth, he also needs to sacrifice his son. Basically, he needs to put his son through what he went through, with the only difference being that he's being guided by the Lord, and his dad probably wasn't, and he probably understood that Terah was not being guided by the Lord at the time. Now, what the book of Abraham gives us as far as extra information on the subject is we're able to better understand Isaac's point of view during the whole experience, and that he was a lot more trusting in his father and trusting in the Lord than what we get from the Genesis account. And that's just due to what's been lost in translation and whatnot. But I think it's really interesting because from our perspective looking at that, we see it's a lot more of a human experience for us to look at Abraham sacrificing Isaac than, say, Heavenly Father sacrificing Jesus Christ. Because we look at that as, okay, well, they're both godlike. It's very different. They have, they're just above us. It's a different situation. They're doing it because they know they're supposed to. It's part of the plan and everything. So it's kind of hard for us to put ourselves in that situation because, they're both, gods. However, with Abraham and Isaac, we can put ourselves in their shoes a lot more easily because they are just, they are people. They're just your average everyday people. If the Lord came to you and said, hey, you need to sacrifice your own child, how would you react? Because that's exactly what Abraham was going through. Obviously, he saw the hand of the Lord in his life earlier on when he was delivered from his father, but still, it's a situation we can all put ourselves in, and it helps us better understand kind of what the Lord is going through when he's offering Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, for us. And it allows us to better appreciate the sacrifice of the atonement, and it also is set up, of course, as a pretty straightforward similitude to what Christ will go through several thousand years later, because there are some symbolic similarities between the two, like Isaac, as he's marching up to the hill, is carrying the bundle of sticks, which is representative of Christ carrying the cross. Same kind of thing. Isaac is Christ in this situation, and Abraham is Heavenly Father in this situation. And it's just a really interesting experience that helps us to better understand what sacrifice Heavenly Father went through for us, and kind of how that would feel if we were in that position.